Coaches, we've talked about offense already with the passing, the shooting, and the dribbling. We're now going to talk about the defensive side of the ball. Teaching defense is pretty simple when we're trying to talk about first thing a defensive stance. With a defensive stance, we're going to have our player right here get down a defensive stance real quick. With a couple things you want to look at. First off, your back being straight. A lot of players will bend over at the waist, bringing their back to the ground. You want to be able to read the numbers and the letters on the jersey. Next thing you want is a good solid base, kind of like in your shooting stance, with your feet shoulder width apart. Arms out wide, ready to block any passes that are coming by. A quick defensive drill you can do with your team is one like this. Defense. Defense. Again, we're going to stress the importance of communication and talking while on the floor. When all your players are down in a good defensive stance, with their butts down, their back straight, and their arms wide out to the sides, you can begin defensive slide motions. On go, we'll slide. Go. Keys to this drill are making sure you're in a wide defensive stance, staying low to the ground with your chest up in the air, hands wide. They'll touch the floor on the opposite sides of the free throw line, making sure they get wide enough from lane to lane. And stop. Couple keys with the defense, making sure you have a good wide base, butt down, back straight, and having your hands wide to reflect any passes. Coaches, we've just talked about playing defense off the ball. Now we're going to talk about guarding the basketball while playing defense. Staying in a stance is the most important part of it, also keeping the arm gap and doing a couple other things we're going to talk about with our two players right here. Our one player with the basketball is going to be in a triple threat stance, ready to play. Our defender is going to get down in a defensive athletic stance. Again, butt down, back straight, arms wide, ready to play. A couple of the keys we're going to work on here is keeping a one arm gap away from your defender. Show the one arm gap. The one arm length away from your defender gives you a chance to recover if the defender or the offensive guy puts the ball on the floor, and that way it gives you a chance to stay in front of him during the defensive drill. Arm back. Now, when the player goes to the right side, you're going to step with your outside foot, one step. Come back. And if they go to the left, you're going to step with your outside foot and back. Good. Now, again, with guarding the shot, when a player goes to shoot the ball, you don't want to try to block every shot out there. Go ahead and fake shot. You want to contest the eyeballs. Hands straight up towards the face without actually touching the offensive player and calling the word shot. Shot. Go ahead and go back. Making sure at all times you're keeping the one arm gap. You don't want to get too close to an offensive player, because if you come up too close, the player can go right by them. It's easier to get beat that way. Keeping a one arm gap is great. For faster players, go with a 1.5 arm gap. For these two right here, they're equally matched in size and speed. A one arm gap is perfect. One thing you also want to do is force a player to their weaker dribbling hand. If you have a right-handed player, you want to force them to their left hand. In this case, our offensive player is stronger in the left hand, so we're forcing him by putting our opposite foot forward to his weaker hand. Forcing him off to his right. Because one step, moves his outside foot first. Come on back. Go one more time to your right. One step, and back. And let's give one more shot. 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 Perfect. Stay just like that. Now working with the offensive one-on-one and the defensive one-on-one, focusing on the defense, make sure to keep your arm gap, force the player to their weaker dribbling hand, and when contesting a shot, don't try to block every shot, just go for the eyes.